Hi, I'm Anthony. I'm co-founder at Gridspace. We're back defining some more terms from the worlds of machine learning, AI, linguistics, computer science, math, life, terms of endearment. We're going to define all of them. Autoregression is a way to be able to generate something big through a process that can generate something small at the fringe. Think about if you're knitting, right? And you've learned a knitting stitch, and you can do the stitch, and your bit of knit work is about as big as it was before. But if you do that stitch over and over and over and over again, just the same stitch, eventually you could produce a full textile, right? That's autoregressive generation, where you have some process that you repeat on the edge of something, and eventually that process, if repeated, is able to generate something much larger than the result of just one operation. Generally, you've heard the term generative AI, which maybe we'll define in another video potentially. And one of the methods for generating data using machine learning model is autoregression. Autoregression, it's called autoregression because regression, as in you're predicting some sort of regressive prediction from your data, and then auto, as in you are taking the output of that model and feeding it back to the input. So it's autoregression. In language modeling, autoregression is the most common way, but not the only way, that you can generate text using a language model. So again, remember from our earlier video, I don't know if there's, I don't know. Language models are take in a sequence of words and typically predict the next word. They can also predict missing words. And autoregression means maybe you take a sequence of words and then you predict the next word. Then you take that whole new sequence extended by one word, and like knitwork, is that knitwork the right, Nick? He's supposed to be fact checking me. So is knitwork what you say?
Is that what happens when Nick works?
Yeah, knitwork. You take your knitting item and you extend it by one stitch. Similarly, you take your text, you extend it by one word, take that text, and then use that to predict the next word. Take that text, use it to predict the next word. Now, autoregression is sort of a pretty primitive way to do it, because your first word sets you off on an adventure to produce your text from that point forward, and it kind of commits you to a path. And so we often talk about like hallucinations with language models, and probably one of the contributing factors is that autoregression sort of commits you to a path and then it's stuck on that path. There are other ways to generate data using machine learning models like diffusion, or autoencoders, or flow-based methods, and maybe we'll talk about those in other videos, but they all have strengths and weaknesses. And one of the weaknesses of autoregression is there's this huge asymmetry between the start of the text, or whatever you're generating autoregressively, and the end. We also have in the past used autoregressive methods for generating spectrograms and speech synthesis. And again, you have problems with stability and long sequences because there's, again, this really big asymmetry. And so we've actually moved away, Nick actually moved us away from autoregressive generation of audio in Grace, our voice bot's voice. And so in general, I think over time, as we build more and more sophisticated generative models, you're going to see models that increasingly borrow from all the different generation methods and takes their strengths and maybe adds more defense against their weaknesses. If you have other concepts or terms you want us to define, what is death? What is money? What is it to be alive? Anything you put down there, we'll define it. We're not gonna look it up, but we will define it for you. Thank you guys, and hopefully we'll do some more terms soon.